Hello and welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new here. Today I've got some more items from the Simon Says Stamp card kit. Now I wanted to use this stencil. It came with these Squoval tags, so this really fun kind of curved tag here. I'm going to use more of the stamp set, and then it also came with this Abandoned Coral Distress Glaze. Now I haven't used the glazes before, but I do use embossing powder quite a bit. So this is like an embossing powder, but it's supposed to be more translucent. So of course I had to pick up some other colors. There was a sale recently for 25% off, so I figured let's pick up some more colors. So I've got Twisted Citron, Salty Ocean, Wilted Violet, Picked Raspberry, Wild Honey, and Squeezed Lemonade. So I thought this was just a good range of colors. So I think I might start by doing something with this tag. So I'm going to get some stuff ready here and I will be right back. So these are the tags here. You just get a variety of sizes and then this little one, and then you also get a few extra little tag things here to go. So I grabbed the second one because I want this to go on an A2 card base, and I want these two flowers. I picked out these two here, this one, and I want them to fit within the tag. So I'm going to end up overlapping them a little bit, and I'm going to come in with my VersaFine Clair ink nocturnal pigment because this is waterproof and I want to do some embossing over these. So I think this is going to do okay. We're going to find out, but I'm just going to stamp one of these at a time. Oh, and I should put my little magnets down. Oh, okay, well that's okay. I don't need that right now because I kind of know where I want this flower, and then I can line that up again afterwards. So that's pretty good for that one. I'm going to get rid of this. I'm going to line my tag back up here so I can get this one down where I want it because I want to make sure both flowers will fit within the tag. So I like that, and then I can always just figure out the angle that I want to cut it afterwards. So I'm going to go ahead and stamp this as well. There, that's pretty good. So I'm going to go ahead and dry these with my heat tool just to make sure they're set really well. And then I'm going to die cut them out with this. And I want to do it on sort of an angle like this. So I've got this die cut out now, and I really love this just like this, but I want to do something a little bit more colorful. So I'm planning to come in and emboss this. Now I did get one area where I had put a little piece of tape here to hold down the die, and it did pull up a little bit of the paper here. So we'll see if that shows or not in the tag. But I've got my embossing dabber, and I've also got this embossing pad. I think I'm going to come in with the embossing pad just because I feel like this might put down a little bit too much and may streak this, even though I did dry this really, really well. But my plan is to come in with this and then come in with these distress glazes, and I'm going to do sort of like a rainbow pattern here. So all of the colors that I said at the beginning of the video, I'm going to use all of them, but I'm going to go ahead and just get this down. You know what, I may come in, I think I really need to re-ink this. So I am going to come in with my dabber because I don't think that's putting down a whole lot of embossing powder. And around the areas of the flowers, I am going to just rub it on really, really good. And then I'll kind of go gentle over the flowers just because I don't want to risk smudging them. Okay, just so you know, I am rubbing over the flowers and it doesn't seem to be moving it at all. So that is pretty good. Okay, so now I'm going to switch papers, and I've got this one that's bent. Oh, I got a little hair there. And I'm just going to put a little bit of this on, and I'm going to do each color separately. That way I can pour it back in the container if I want. And I'm just going to try to get this. Actually, if I'm doing each color separately, I can probably go a little thicker. And then I'm going to grab a little bit and just sort of like sprinkle it a little towards at the end, so hopefully it will help the next color transition a little bit better. And then I'm just going to put this back in the container, and I'm going to get the next color out and just keep going. I think my embossing ink is drying by the time I'm doing this, so I'm going to go ahead and heat set this, and then I'll do the rest of it, and I'll just see. I may have to come over a couple of different areas here, so I'm just going to go ahead and use my heat tool and heat set this. So that's what I'm sort of getting, and I do like the transition here, but I think I need to go a little bit thicker with it. So I'm just going to do a strip at a time and heat set it. Yeah, you can see how much doing it right after you emboss it definitely lays down a thicker layer, so I'm going to keep doing it like this. So this is what the tag looks like once I've finished it, and I did 2 layers over everything, and it really made these stamped images come out. I feel like that looks even darker now, and I do like this shiny look that it gets. Now, I will say that when it is first wet after you've heat embossed it, just be careful because I did touch here and it did lift a little bit of the stuff, so it is still a little bit like tacky even though once it's heat set. So be aware of that, but that was pretty fun to do. And I think instead of using this white background here, I'm going to go ahead and cut out some of this paper. So I'm going to cut this by 5.5 and 4.25, and I think that's going to back this nicely. So I die cut one of these to go around the tag here, and I just picked a darker brown that would go with the brown in the background here. And it does die cut 2 of them, but I only used 1. Because this tag is so colorful compared to the background, I think I might come in with some of the colors that I used in the tag, but in the oxide forms, and just come over the background a little bit to kind of tint it. So I'm going to use Twisted Citron, Mermaid Lagoon. Now I used the Salty Ocean for this, but I figure these colors are pretty close. Wilted Violet, picked Raspberry, Ripe Persimmon. Again, for this one, I had the Abandoned Coral, but I don't have this color, so I think this one's going to be pretty close. Dried Marigold. Again, this one was Wild Honey, so it's a little bit more of a orangey yellow, but this one might be good. If not, I'm going to come in with the Spiced Marmalade just to give you some different options. And then Squeezed Lemonade. So I think I'm going to start with this one. And I just want to sort of do the same pattern from yellow to green here. So I've just got some of my little blending brushes. And I want to go in fairly light with this. I just want to kind of tint the paper. So just like this, where you can see the color, but it's not so obvious. So I'm just going to go ahead and speed up this part, and I'm going to do the whole thing. I love the added ink blending here in the background. I just think it makes the tag go with this background a little bit better. So I'm going to go ahead and glue this down to this card. And I still want this to be on a slight angle on this card. And even though I want this to be on a slight angle, I still did the blend straight in the background just to have a little bit of a difference there. Now, I already took the stamp set and stamped out a bunch of sentiments. I did this in the last video where I did some more mixed media cards. So I've already got this Thinking of You stamped out, and I put a little bit of foam on the back of it. And I'm thinking of putting it down here, but I don't think I want to blend any color on this or anything. I want the sentiment to stand out like this. There, and I just put this at a little bit of an angle so it goes with the card. So that's how this card turned out. For this card, I think I'm going to do some of these flowers maybe this way, and then I might come in with the stencil and do some stenciling with these just because I haven't used the stencil yet. So I'm going to pick a couple of these flowers out. So I tried to just get them spaced evenly on the card here as best I could. And then I'm just going to come in with my VersaFine ink here. So I think that's pretty good. Actually, I'm going to do this middle one just a little bit again. There, that's pretty good. Now I'm going to go ahead and leave these flowers on here because if we need to come over and make our lines a little bit darker, then we can. So the nice thing with these flowers is they do have like an A, B, C, D here, and this coordinates with the stencil. Now it only coordinates with the top parts. So this one here is D. So if we look at D, we've got little areas here that you can move around to color things. Now, I wish it would have been you could put it over and it would cover the whole thing, but you have to kind of move it around. Same with this one. This is C, so this one's going to cover this one here and then those little dots. Now, the ones down at the bottom, I think you can just pick whichever you want for whichever flower stem there because they don't have a coordinating like A, B, C, D. So I'm just going to kind of pick whichever one I feel like fits with that flower. Now I've gone ahead and picked out a few colors on the side here, so I'm going to go through those quickly. For the stem areas, I've got Peeled Paint, Mowed Lawn, and Cracked Pistachio. I just thought those would kind of maybe go nice together. And then for some of the flower areas, I've just pulled out different colors, and I'm just going to kind of grab whichever one I'm feeling. So I've got Seedless Preserves, Shaded Lilac, Squeezed Lemonade, Spun Sugar, Dried Marigold, Picked Raspberry, and Spiced Marmalade. So I don't know if I'm going to use all of those colors, but I'm just going to kind of pick the colors that I feel like using at the time, and then we'll just kind of go with that. So I'm going to start with this one here. Actually, maybe I'll do all of the little stem areas first. And I kind of want to pick something. I guess this one could have like this sort of bigger, well, maybe that one would go with that. I don't know. I'm kind of feeling this one for this, sort of a little more blobby, but I don't want it to necessarily cover the whole thing or be like perfect. Like it's not quite centered. Actually, you know what? Maybe I do want to center it a little bit. Maybe I'll do this one here. Yeah. Okay, I like that. I'm trying not to be a perfectionist with these because I want them to be a little bit more like unperfect. And I think for this one, maybe I'll come in with the peeled paint. And I'm just going to lightly cover this whole thing. And then I'm just going to, now you could come in, and maybe I will because I usually always say I'm going to be careful, and then I get a little heavy-handed. So I am just going to cover these other areas just with some post-it notes here. because I always have the best intentions to be careful where I'm putting the colors, and then it kind of just gets all over the place. So I'm just going to come in lightly, just like that. So I'm going to go ahead and speed up this as I do the rest of these, but I'm just going to be kind of going through the same colors, and I'm just going to clean this in between with some alcohol just so it will dry quickly. So I really like how these turned out, and I don't think I need to go ahead and restamp them. I think the dark lines are showing up just fine over this. Now I did pull in the Dusty Concord with this one. I used Shaded Lilac and the Dusty Concord just to have a different color going on here. But I'm thinking this needs a little bit more of a bold sentiment. So a lot of the sentiments that come in this kit are just very small. They're very nice, like thank you, thinking of you, love you, be well, and mom. But I think I need something a little bit bolder, so I'm pulling out some of this pattern paper again that came in the kit. And I think this love you is just going to take up too much room. I want the flowers to still be the star of the show here, but I really like this little word down here, hello or smile. But if I'm going to use this as the only sentiment on the card, then I think I might use hello, so I might just fussy cut around this. I also like this sending good vibes, so I could always put hello, sending good vibes. Maybe I'll do that. There's also grateful. So a lot of these have like little words on them. I like this smile, but I feel like it needs something else with it. So I may end up using the hello, and I may use these. So I'm just going to fussy cut these out, and then I'll see what looks better with the card. So I cut those sentiments out, and I think I am going to use the sending good vibes as well. And I just put a little bit of foam adhesive on the back of all of these, so we're going to get this glued down. I like how just simple this card is with a little bit of the ink blending and then a nice bold sentiment, and we were able to use more from the paper pack that came with this. So this is how our two cards turned out today, and I really like how both of them turned out. I love this one with the simple background, using the stencils to come in and do some blobby shapes, and you could even use these to just do random like blobby shapes in the background and then stamp anything that you want. That would be really fun, and you could just do different colors or have them all the same color. And then a nice bold sentiment for this one, and then on this one we have more bold colors and then a little bit more of a delicate smaller sentiment here. Now I really like how the embossing glaze here made the ink stand out a little bit more. So if you look at this, the ink is just toned down ever so slightly behind the oxide ink, but here it pops a little bit more. If you have any more suggestions on how to use the glaze, please let me know in the comments down below. If you liked this video, then please give it a like and subscribe to my channel for more card making videos. Thank you so much for watching, and as always, I will see you in my next video. Bye!